If you're ready for some entitled parent stories today, we've got you covered, including a crazy one later on about parents who won't let their 27-year-old son move out of their house. Before we get to that, our first story is being badmouthed to the rest of the family for issues with parents. Basically the title. I've had recent issues with a parent because I'm growing up and me changing in terms of what I want to share with them is deemed bad and I should go back to how I was before, which was constantly second-guessing everything I said and did so as not to disrupt the whole family because what one person feels, we're all supposed to feel. My family isn't meshed. Well, now that I'm setting boundaries after respectfully trying to explain why I feel the way I do, my younger sister and grandparents are being relayed my private conversations with my parents, and I'm being accused of not caring about them anymore. Obviously, what was said by my parents is being conveniently left out of the story, like threats to cut me off and that they would take back some things they've done for me. Now I've got my sister barely talking to me because she's confused as to who I am because what she's being told contradicts many things I've done for her and my family over the years. But she's in deep, so she sees no issue with sharing part of what's going on with my very elderly grandparents, who are now worried and called me privately to ask what's going on and why am I drifting away. Do I just let it go and hope they come to their senses when they talk to me about it? Do I confront my parents about it? I've tried to explain how inappropriate it is to spread criticism about me to people who aren't directly involved, but I'm not heard. I've refrained from sharing hurtful things I've been told because I don't think it's fair to air dirty laundry like that, and I'm not trying to get to my parents through anyone else. Well, props for taking the high road and not matching tit-for-tat gossip for gossip. It is a very annoying situation, but I think once you have an opportunity and open forum to clear the air, hopefully they believe you. Loquella88 commented, "If your grandparents are coming to you, it's because there's something they don't believe. Give them rules to not talk over you, and then just let them know the complete truth." Chronically Confused Zero commented, "I think they definitely found it odd and were confused, but a large part of the conversation was telling me to just communicate and remember all the hardships my parents have gone through without even asking me for my side. It wasn't until I pointed that out did they actually listen to me a bit. As tempting as it is to tell them everything, I think I'd feel really guilty because then they'd be upset with my parents too. I don't want to add to their stress because there are already plenty of family problems." Also, hello, my name is Brendan, and if you guys enjoy these entitled parents stories, it would be so awesome if you left a like or commented down below if you're listening to our podcast. That being said, our next story is, Mom is upset because I'm on my phone. I'm 23 and run an online business as well as work a regular job. I post listings whenever there's time, so mostly when I'm not at work. She says I need to get off my phone, yet this is paying her bills as well. She always talks about her relationship with men and how everyone agrees with her. It's quite old. Hard to tell if I'm losing my mind or if she's just not a good mom. There's a lot more that I'm uncomfortable sharing. I think in this case, if you're 23, it's time to maybe move on, create a little bit of separation from mom. How does she not understand that you're doing her a service by doing the side job on your phone? That's just kind of confusing, but whatever. Kangaroo Pack 3727 commented, "First of all, you're not losing your marbles. No, really, your mom is the problem here. You don't have to share more if you don't feel okay about it. Why on earth are you paying her bills for? Seriously, she's treating you like a walking ATM machine and that money pipe needs to be turned off for good. You're not her bank for her to squeeze money out of. Move out and go as far away as you can. Hope you moving out will get her to buck the flip up and motivate her to get a job. If she starts demanding money off of you, put her on block for a few days." Our next story is, "My mom's a lazy, narcissistic POS hoarder. Read post. So I'm very upset right now. Take this as more of a rant/vent, I guess. I live in an apartment complex, meaning we have little freaking space and my own mother keeps dragging crap in. We're due to move apartments in March or April. I don't know anymore. The date keeps changing and I think she's just lying. She has crap everywhere, all over the house. The living room isn't even a living room. It's a freaking hoard room of things she's going to sell. She never sells crap. And she's been hoarding her ugly freaking clothes in my closet. My closet is already cluttered, and she has an entire room closet. Mine's small, compact, and not able to fit much. Plus, my room's a victim of the hoarding. She just adds crap that she can't keep in the living room into my room. I can't even clean it, and I've given up trying. She recently asked me to empty my drawers because we'd be moving my bureau and getting a new one. That was 3 days ago. My clothes are going in a trash bag, and I don't even care if they get thrown out at this point. Because guess what? I don't have anywhere to put the freaking clothes. So thankful I'm in split custody so I don't have to live with this absolute dog crap 24/7. Now I'm sitting here just ticked, thinking about screaming at her and telling her off because I'm so freaking tired of having to live in her hoard of crap. Not to mention, even when I do my absolute freaking best to clean, it's never good enough. It's never effing good enough, and I don't think it ever will be. It's ruined my self-esteem to where I just don't even want to bother doing anything. I slave around for this woman 25/8 doing the dog, cleaning her dishes, cleaning her mess that she made. I'd at least like a proper thank you or some kind of payment, as it often leaves me sore and tired for the rest of the day. I potentially have issues with my legs due to development issues, so that makes it 10 times more fun, and feel underappreciated for everything I do. Even if I ask, hey, I did all this, do you think we could get dinner out or something? She asks me to pay. I can't even afford anything because if I did get a job, she'd drive me there late or complain that it's too far. I don't even have my license yet due to just overall stress and road anxiety, but I'm trying my best to get it. I'm actually just so tired of being her personal slave. It's caused me to turn to nightly stoner nights where I just smoke and lay down, debating if it's even worth it anymore. She wouldn't even care if I did freak my lungs up because of it. I've been inhaling her backhand smoke for all 18 years of my life. I tell her that I don't feel appreciated, and she just tells me that, oh, I love you so much. No, you freaking don't. You only love me because my existence gives you free money. Same with my father. You only love me because it gives you a freaking excuse to sit on your butt and do nothing all day. Seriously, I'm tired of slaving around. I'm tired of being underappreciated. Sorry for the huge dump. I just needed to get it out before it all turned to personal anger and crap. Okay, bye. Back to cleaning. Yeah, this sucks, but if you're 18, it might be time to take it upon yourself to make other living arrangements. Also, how is your mom asking you for money or demanding that you give her money and she knows that you don't have a job? Like, where is that thought even coming from? It doesn't sound like this situation with mom is salvageable, so yeah, run far away. BK Matricia commented, you said split custody, even though you're 18, so you have a father or other relative? Call them. Ask if you can come to their home this week, ASAP. Your mother sounds mentally ill. She's emotionally abusing you, and if she's making you work all the time, do you attend school? That's wrong. You need to get out. If that's not available and you have no job or way to support yourself, ask for help. Some places offer youth hostels, and others there are charities and religious groups that will help young adults. Look up what might be available on your phone or computer, or go to a library and use theirs, and start calling/messaging. Getting stoned and doing nothing will hurt you. I only use this for info responded. I'm heading to my father's today. I don't attend school and I'm a college dropout. Thing is, my father's wicked political and stingy, so it's pretty much stress everywhere I go. Plus, untreated disorders ain't helping me out. Our next story is, my mom is mad at me for going to the hospital for an ear infection. Back in 2024, I've been having a bad ear infection for weeks. I tried to go to my doctor, but they really didn't do much. I told my mom about it, but there was nothing she could do. I tried taking medicine and eardrops, but they didn't really help. One day, it's starting to get worse, so I couldn't take it anymore, so I went to the emergency room and they gave me medicine to help with my ear infection, and it actually helped. But now I'm being charged with like $4,000 and my mom is upset with me. I told her my ear infection was so bad, but she says, quote, you only go to an emergency room if you're dying, and she says it's one of the dumbest things I've ever done. I hope my insurance will cover at least some of it. What do you guys think? I think that this is a moment of education. I think it's an opportunity to maybe learn a lesson. I understand that you're in a lot of pain and it feels like, no one wants to help you, and so you just want to get that relief as quickly as you can, but I do believe that mother is correct in this situation. You only go to an ER in case of an emergency. I'm sure a local urgent care or even a local pharmacy could have just given you advice on how to treat that ear infection, but now you've got $4,000 bill. Even with insurance, that's going to be a hell of a deductible copay, and Yeah, lesson learned. Glad you got over the ear infection, though. Kuriko72 commented, "If you felt you needed to, then you needed to. In hindsight, it's just an ear infection, easy treatment. But without going to check it out at a medical facility, and all I read was ear infection. As someone who regularly works with brain injury, all I could think of was, that's awfully close to the brain. Consider urgent care next time, but I don't think you did the wrong thing. Better safe than sorry. Ask the hospital for any help with bills. You'd be surprised what they might offer." Our next story is it normal to be called a project by your parents? I was homeschooled all my life and graduated college at 19. While dual enrolling in college, I worked for the family business where, since graduating, I've worked full-time. Currently nearly 21, so working with them for close to 7 years now. They've always referred to me as their project, and so whenever I do something that they don't approve of, they say, "We've worked so hard on you, why would you ruin it?" Examples: dating someone non-white. Same values, they like him as a person, but since he's half Hispanic, half European, white, and a bit tan, they aren't fans of him. He's in school for EE for another 2 years or so, and will graduate at almost 24. They think he's a lost cause even though he works and pays for his own bills/school with plans to do more. Going from Jewish to agnostic to Greek Orthodox, my own personal journey. Mom has thrown a fit since she didn't like the church growing up and swears all of it is fake. I don't drink or do drugs, I don't sneak out, I help whenever I can around the house, I'm a great roommate, I align with them in other things, but whenever I choose to think of something differently or do something that they don't approve of, they go back to, "How could you put all of your hard work at risk? You're our project, you clearly aren't done yet." Usually said in a half-joking manner, but after 20 years, I don't think it's a joke. Is this normal? Am I actually being disrespectful? Update. My parents made it clear that they do not support what I listed above and they don't like it at all. It isn't what they want for me. They said I'm not a critical thinker, but that they still love me. Thanks, I guess. This isn't normal at all. First of all, children are not projects of their parents, and honestly, they're not puppets for parents to just mold and groom into exactly who they want them to be. At a certain point, your child reaches an age where you have to kind of let them flourish and blossom on their own and become who they are without that kind of overhead influence. So yeah, this definitely, the lab references, you're a project, that's just straight up weird. But no, I don't think that OP is in the wrong for feeling a certain kind of way about their parents. IDK I Like Lizards commented, "It is not normal. Unfortunately, some parents do not see their kids as their own people with their own opinions and ideals, but instead an extension of themselves. They see the child as someone they're supposed to raise as a better version of themselves with the same thoughts, opinions, and ideals. Keep doing your own thing, even if it makes them upset. You are who you are, and that's okay." Pandora's responded, "I mean, objectively, am I doing something wrong here? Do they have any grounds for this?" Our next story is, "My mother wants $100 from a dead man." Bit of a dramatic title, but it's unfortunately true. My mother is all around a wonderful woman. That doesn't keep her from being hard-headed and a stubborn son of a bitch, creating stupid arguments and sticking to her guns no matter how many times you explain that she's wrong. She passed that trait on to me, which means we butt heads every once in a while. This is one of those times. Keep in mind that this story was relayed to me over the course of my childhood. In the year 2004, my parents announced their second pregnancy. My paternal grandfather, Bob, had 5 grandsons at this point, spread across his 3 kids. Since this would be the last baby of the generation, he pulled my mom aside and told her he'd give her $100 if she could give him his first granddaughter. Obviously, if she was going to give birth anyway, it was a done deal. Fast forward, and my mom gives birth to me and my twin sister, 2 fraternal baby girls. The first time my granddad visits her and his new granddaughters, he gives my mom a shiny $100 bill. She gets offended and tells him that this wasn't what they agreed upon. She gave him 2 granddaughters, so surely that means he owes her $200 instead of the original $100. She had done double the work. The kids she had just popped out were jerks. From here, the argument gets blurry, because the story was recounted to me by my mom, a biased commentary. I only ever heard her side of the argument. I was told that they bickered about it until the day he died, when I was about 4. When I grew old enough to understand the situation, I began arguing with my mom on my grandpa Bob's behalf. Here's how I see it. Deal was laid out as, you are currently pregnant. If this is my first granddaughter, I'll give you $100. Her end of the deal was delivered when she delivered the first granddaughter. and his obligations were fulfilled when he, true to his word, gave her the $100 bill. It stops and starts at the first granddaughter. Regardless, my mom swears up and down to this day, nearly 20 years later, that her father-in-law stiffed her years ago and she just cannot get over it. Every time I think I've argued her into the ground in front of the others and she sees I'm right, the next time it comes up, she acts like the previous discussion never happened and suddenly the argument begins again. My current argument is that because I'm now a trans man, and he could only ever have had one granddaughter, my sister, my mom was still compensated the correct amount for the one girl she delivered. I think I win. I don't remember my granddad, but he seemed like a good guy, and I'm proud that he stuck it to my mom until she couldn't reach him anymore. I'm happily carrying on his legacy by not letting my mom get away with dumb crap. This story is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the bet in and of itself seems like it was just made in good fun, but the fact that the mom is holding on to this and actually genuinely upset, compounded by the fact that grandpa has passed away, is simply ludicrous, shall we say. Our next story is, my mother keeps changing her departure dates. For context, I, 36-year-old non-binary, and my husband, 42-year-old male, live in a small apartment in a major city. I've been on mental health leave from my job for the last 3 months, and we're in the process of packing up our apartment to move due to rent increases. Our home has always been a little safe haven away from external stress. My mother, 62-year-old female, lives a 7-hour drive north in a small country town, but travels frequently for work, business owner. We live near an international airport, so she often uses us as an airport hotel. Last month, she asked if it was possible to stay with my husband and I for a period of 5 days, arriving Thursday, departing Monday, due to client meetings in the city. I told her that was fine, but made it clear that I already had a busy calendar, social events, university study, back-to-work meetings, packing house. I knew it would be a tricky situation as my mother is an extremely extroverted boomer, and my husband and I are introverted nerds. When she visits, it's a constant barrage of, let's go do something. Given my mental health, it's hard most days for me to even get out of bed. I'm also 3 weeks into new antidepressants and still adjusting to the side effects. She's aware of this, but not that I've been on leave, because her opinion of mental health has always been smile and shake it off. Last night, after I'd just returned from a concert, she advised me that she planned to stay an extra day due to meeting reschedules. She didn't ask. When I brought up that I wasn't happy, as the original plan was for her to leave Monday, she got quite upset and said, "I said probably leaving Monday." This led to me trying to express that I already have a lot of things on my plate, which she challenged and then accused me of kicking her out. This is frankly a common occurrence when she rewrites discussions that we've had and feels entitled to stay with us. This morning, I've woken up to a cold message that she's going to book herself into a hotel as she still has a lot of work to do. I can't help but feel incredibly guilty and upset, but she's now refusing to talk to me calmly. I don't know how to respond to this. You don't respond to this. That's what you do. You let her check herself into a hotel and you don't allow yourself to feel victimized by her gaslighting. Insomniac Zombie X commented, "You feeling guilty is what she wants because she is a manipulator. You're entitled to your peace, especially in your own home. You're not responsible for her feelings to her displeasure that she changed her plans and told you and did not ask. She's in the wrong for both her actions and reactions. It sounds like mom might deserve a timeout for her actions so you can get time to digest what happened." Our next story is, my mom pressures me to introduce my boyfriend to her, but I don't want to. Firstly, I would like to say that I genuinely do love my mom. She supported me in almost everything, was there for me during my recent hard times, so I do not hate her nor do I have any reason to. I'm 22 years old, about to turn 23, but ever since I was little, I was very ashamed for everything by my family. My looks, what I enjoyed to eat, when I would get sweat stains on my shirt, my private journal that they found, my toys, etc., including my mom. And I feel like I grew up to be extremely private and secretive, avoiding any chance to get shamed again at all costs by rarely, if ever, sharing details about my personal life, what I like, etc. My mom has had a habit of judging people extremely harsh and always finding a flaw in somebody. We would be walking on the street, a gorgeous girl passing us, and if I mentioned to her, "Wow, she's pretty," she would say, "Yeah, I don't know. Her thighs are kind of big, and her hair is so thin, and her dress is ugly." The worst part is she does it to my friends as well. I'll show her a group picture and she'll start judging every single thing about everyone in that picture. She'll make mean remarks to the face of my closest friends that she'd met plenty of times, such as mentioning so many times how wrong a certain makeup looks on my friend's face. I still live with her, even though my biggest wish since I was a teenager has been to move out. I simply can't afford anything else right now, being a student. Because of this, I had always hidden every boy I've dated from my parents, especially my mom. When she did find out about somebody, she would not hesitate to denigrate him as much as she could to my face. He could be the most gorgeous guy. She would always overly point out every small thing that she finds as a flaw. When she won't point out their looks, she'll find the smallest detail about their personality, over-exaggerate it and make it seem like they're such a loser. For example, I would plan a vacation with a partner. She would say all his suggestions are crappy, and we're a very boring couple, and these were plans for trips to Marbella, Capri, Sardegna, etc. I've been dating my current boyfriend for a year and a half now. She found out when we were 2 months into our relationship, and ever since then she mentions how it's impolite and rude for not coming to meet her. It's often like he's a complete stranger to her. My brother and him were friends for many years, and they often hang out in the same group of friends. After a couple months, while she constantly pressured me, I mentioned to her that I don't view meeting the parents as necessary right now, that I'm old enough to decide my life with someone for myself, and if it were to get to the point of being engaged with somebody, then yes, surely she would meet them. She got very angry and said that this is not normal, that she will always need to meet them way before it gets to that point, that she finds it rude for me to hide them from her. I did not elaborate on why I'm doing it, but she did not stop complaining about not having met him. I simply do not want to hear her harsh, rude, and aggressive judging about my partner like she did with every partner or friend from the past. I do not want to give her the opportunity to mock anything about him to his face. Am I in the wrong here? Is it really that wrong to wait for things to be very serious, like engagement, until someone gets to meet my parents? I think you need to take exactly what you posted in this Reddit post and tell her the same thing. I mean, clean it up if you have to, if you want to spare her feelings, but like she needs to be kind of put on notice. It's like, this is why I don't share things with you. And if she still doesn't understand, then yeah, continue to keep her at arm's length and, they don't have to meet. Mimi Mouse 66 responded, "Have you ever tried to communicate with her how this horrible habit she has affects you?" Summon Barry responded, "I did in the past, not related to any boyfriends, but there were instances when she was mocking random people's looks/personalities, and I said, 'You're so judgmental,' and she didn't take it lightly. She immediately got upset and started defending herself, so I don't know how I'll bring this up without a huge fight." Kangaroo Pack 3727 responded, "May I suggest if mom starts to throw a tantrum, the best option is walk away and treat her like the bratty kid who makes a scene over not getting that toy or chocolate bar. You respond to her like this: 'Mom, I love and respect you, but what you're doing is not very nice and kind of you. How would you feel if someone hears you bad-mouthing them or their loved one over their appearances, bodies, and their weight? What are you gonna do? Would you also like it if your best friend or your sister-in-law mocks you too? Not a nice thing, huh?' If mom gives you the BS that she's done nothing wrong and starts throwing a kitty tantrum, you tell her this in a calm but assertive manner: 'I'm going to go somewhere and let you calm down. You need a timeout, so see you maybe later.' You get the heck out of her sight and go someplace else away or go home from her childish behavior. Record her, OP, and keep any recording of her mocking your friends and others as proof. If I happen to be your mom's neighbor or acquaintance at mom's community class or choir group that's badmouthed by her over my weight, my choice of attire, and my looks behind my back, I have the right to know what kind of person I would not be friends with. Secondly, if your mom is doing that to me behind my back and I get wind of it from someone who heard her saying that, oh, trust me, I'll be at your mom's face and it will be no more Mr. Nice Guy on her. One more thing to remember, it's only a matter of time. Your mom's constant mocking and shaming people will be her undoing if she's not careful. They say that when someone catches you saying an unkind word in an earshot, you cannot take it back, and once things go custard, it'll be too late for regrets. I can promise you that your mom will sooner or later land in trouble if she messes with the wrong person." Our next story is, "Parents won't let me, male 27 years old, move out of the house. I have an issue with my parents being really unsupportive about me moving out. My mom especially wants me to live in the same city as her, otherwise she won't accept it. I got an offer to see an apartment I really liked, and both my parents and my sister just nagged the entire time about one single issue. The apartment doesn't have a lift. My apartment would be on the D floor, which is 4 floors up, but it's really not an issue for me. When I tried to ask them for feedback about the apartment itself, they stayed negative but agreed that it was a good place. Fast forward 4 hours after visiting, my mom had a complete meltdown and tried to emotionally manipulate me into staying at her house, telling me she would drink poison or run in front of a car and unalive herself. It's 3:18 in the morning as I'm writing this, and I'm all messed up in the head. I can't sleep or drink anything, and I'm constantly thinking about this apartment because it's in an amazing city with so many necessities close by. Like, the highway is just 3 minutes away, the central station, shopping center, etc. For me, it looks like a dream come true apartment, but my mom is mentally abusing me. I'm really not okay right now. I don't want to stay even more because of her abuse, and she doesn't even realize it. After the meltdown, she ended it by saying that if I leave the house, she only has 3 kids and won't recognize me as the 4th anymore. I got mad and left the living room, went upstairs, put my jeans on, grabbed my car keys, and went outside to go for a drive. She came out of the house, followed me outside to my car, crying and wheezing hysterically. We talked in my car, and I ended up succumbing to her cries and emotional abuse once again. We went inside and watched a movie together as a family, but my mind is still not in the right place. Even while typing this, I have chest pain and a fast heart rate. She talked in the car about how she's afraid of my dad and feels like if I stay close by, I can protect her, as if the city I'm potentially moving to isn't only 10 minutes away by car and 20 minutes by train. I feel like I'm in jail, and she never wants me to leave the house, even if I get married, etc. I have a girlfriend and I want to start something together as a team, not live in this house anymore. My room is so bad, and I want to grow as a person. I feel like I'm chained, and my mom is dragging me down further and further. I need advice because my whole family is against me. I need to tell you one thing. I come from a Muslim household, so there's that. But I just don't want to be here anymore, or even live anymore. I think you're going to have to call mom's bluff and eventually get yourself out of there. Maybe go on a trip. I'm putting air quotes up. But like a trip or a vacation with friends where you're gone from like 1 to 2 weeks and see how your mom reacts to your absence in that situation. Obviously, in that situation, there's, the promise that you will be returning from that trip, but that will at least kind of gauge her reaction. Like, is she actually getting physically ill and uncomfortable from your absence, or is she, which is also very likely in my opinion, just trying to gaslight and manipulate you? So I would start with that, but you got to get out of there eventually. Jimmy Jim 86 commented, "Don't ask, quietly make plans to move. Once you get a place, file a change of address before you move. Make sure you have all your important stuff. Take only what you can't live without and leave." Our next story is, "My mom and stepdad think I owe them." September 2013. At just 20 and while 33 weeks pregnant, I watched my husband of 5 months drop dead. My mom and stepdad drive from Vegas to Texas overnight to be there for me and my unborn child. Now, almost 12 years later, they're still using it against me, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly. I've gone very low contact in recent years for other issues, but how the frick do I politely tell them to F off? The whole point of a selfless act is because you're doing it selflessly and you don't expect anything in exchange. So if they're using that as kind of a scare tactic or manipulation tactic, then just bring it up to them, call them out on it and say like, look, that just kind of shows that you weren't really looking out for me. You were just kind of looking for a future IOU to cash in on in the future. And Otho commented, "There's no polite to this. Let them know in no uncertain terms that using the death of your husband, the father of your child, against you for 12 years makes them the crappiest type of people and they don't deserve to be in your life. Then stand your ground. You deserve peace." With all that being said, guys, that's all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give a like and comment down below. And if you want to check out any of our other videos, click the video on the right. That being said, see you all next time.